You know, it's easy to think you've heard of the most sacred places, but did you realize there's a region nestled in Nepal, in the Dailekh district, that some consider even holier than, say, Varanasi, Prayag, and Haridwar?
Really? That's quite a claim.
It is. It's called Panchkoshi. Okay, let's unpack this, because for this deep dive, we're venturing into this fascinating and profoundly important Nepalese pilgrimage site.
Sounds intriguing. Where did this topic come from?
One of our listeners actually brought this to our attention, and the information they shared highlights not just its deep religious significance, but also its historical weight,
Okay.
including, surprisingly, potential petroleum reserves. And there are these truly captivating stories surrounding its origins and the rituals, the ones still performed there.
Wow. So it's got this convergence of different aspects, the deeply spiritual, the historical,
Right.
and even potential economic impact. It really makes you think about how one place can hold such, well, multifaceted importance, possibly stretching back centuries.
Absolutely. And to navigate this intricate tapestry, we'll be drawing from the material our listener provided. This text really illuminates Panchkoshi's spiritual eminence, its strong connections to ancient Nepali kingdoms, and the Nepali language itself. Those intriguing geological possibilities we just touched on, and the very detailed and time-honored Panchkoshi pilgrimage.
Okay.
So our goal today is to truly understand why this perhaps lesser-known region holds such profound significance. We want to sort of peel back those layers, reveal its multifaceted importance, and hopefully maybe ignite your own curiosity to explore further.
Sounds good. So where do we start with a place held in such high spiritual esteem?
Good question. What stands out first?
Well, given its prominence, it probably makes sense to start with its most immediate and evocative characteristic, its fiery nature.
Fiery.
Yeah. Panchkoshi is widely known as the Land of Flames, also called Walamandala and Jwala Tirtha. This is because of perpetually burning flames found at several key sites.
Perpetual flames.
Wow. Right. And the ancient Skanda Purana even directly links it to fire, calling it Vaishwanar Tirtha and Agni Tirtha, really emphasizes that fiery quality.
That's quite a powerful image, these continuous flames. The text emphasizes that for Hindu devotees in Western Nepal, performing religious acts here is believed to lead to significant spiritual fulfillment. And this is quite a claim. It quotes a passage stating Panchkoshi is considered more sacred than Varanasi, Prayag, and Mayapur.
This is Haridwar, yeah.
Exactly, Haridwar. And that it has the power to destroy sins in this Kali Yuga. That really underscores its immense religious weight.
It certainly does, and it's not just one solitary flame. Panchkoshi is comprised of 5 main locations: Padukistan, Navistan, Kotila, Shrestan, which is also known as Shirastan, and Duleshwar.
Okay, 5 main sites.
Although, interestingly, the text points out that some traditions include Dungeshwar instead of Kotila.
Oh, so there's a bit of variation.
Yeah, suggests a slightly different understanding of the precise boundaries, maybe depending on local beliefs.
So the name Panchkoshi, that literally translates to 5 koshas, right? And Duleshwar is considered the central point.
Exactly.
The text offers 2 ways to think about its geographical extent based on this center. Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. One interpretation is that Panchkoshi is the area within a 5-kosha radius around the Duleshwar temple, like drawing a circle on a map with Duleshwar smack in the middle.
Okay.
The other view is a bit more expansive. It considers the land extending 5 koshas east, west, north, and south of Duleshwar.
Ah, so more like a square area.
Precisely. A larger square with Duleshwar at its heart. Both interpretations really highlight Duleshwar's pivotal role in this sacred landscape.
Okay, so we have this fiery, incredibly sacred region defined by these 5 key sites, maybe with Dungeshwar as an alternative.
Right.
Now, how did this all begin? What are the foundational stories, the myths and legends?
Right, the origins. The text provides several captivating myths. One of the most prominent involves Lord Shiva and Kamadeva.
Shiva and Kamadeva, the god of love.
That's the one. The story goes, the gods needed Shiva, who is deep in meditation, to help fight some demons, so they sent Kamadeva to distract him.
Okay. How did that go?
Not well for Kamadeva. Shiva, disturbed, opened his third eye.
Oh, you go.
And the intense fiery energy from it just reduced Kamadeva to ashes.
Wow, it's quite a dramatic reaction.
Yeah.
So how do these fiery ashes connect to Panchkoshi?
Well, the legend continues that Shiva, maybe in remorse, maybe just releasing this immense energy, gathered these flames and cast them away.
Okay.
These fiery sparks are said to have landed in the Himalayas, specifically at the locations that became Shirastan, Nabistan, and Padukistan.
Ah, so the flames created these sacred spots.
That's the belief. And furthermore, because Shiva was present in this area, it's believed all other deities, sacred sites, rivers, they were naturally drawn there.
Drawn to Shiva's presence.
Exactly, with Dulistan or Duleshwar becoming the central abode for all of them. So this act isn't just a story, it's seen as foundational to why these places are so charged with divine energy, shaping the whole spiritual landscape.
That's a powerful origin story. What other explanations does the text offer? Any others?
Another highly significant myth connects Panchkoshi to the well-known story of Sati Devi.
Okay, Sati Devi and Shiva. I know that one.
Right. So Sati Devi immolated herself, and Shiva, overcome with grief, carried her burning body across the cosmos.
And parts of her body fell, creating the Shakti Pithas.
Precisely. And according to this belief, different parts of Sati Devi's body landed right at the Panchkoshi sites.
Really? Which parts where?
Her feet are said to have fallen at Paduka, her navel at Nabi, her side at Kotila, her head at Shri or Shira, and the remaining ashes or dust settled at Duleshwar. The text even mentions the Swasthani Brata Katha, a popular narrative, which also talks about Sati's head falling at Shripith, and some link that directly to Shiristan in Panchkoshi.
Wow. So two incredibly powerful deities, Shiva and Sati, both deeply tied to the creation of these sites. Are there any other legendary connections mentioned?
Yes, there's also a connection to the epic Mahabharata.
The Mahabharata, too.
Yeah. The legend involves the 5 Pandava brothers during their exile. Bhimasena encountered the serpent king Nahusha, who was cursed.
Okay.
Yudhishthira, the eldest, eventually freed Nahusha from his serpent form. And it's said that as Nahusha shed his snake form, parts of his body fell.
Let me guess. At the Panchkoshi sites.
Exactly. Mirroring the Sati Devi story. Feet at Paduka, navel at Nabi, side at Kotila, head at Shri, and dust at Duleshwar.
That's fascinating, how these different narratives all converge on the same locations, reinforcing their sanctity.
It really is interesting. And there's even a local legend from Pahiri village.
Oh, tell me about that one.
Well, this local story tells of an elderly man from Pahiri village on his deathbed. His soul wouldn't depart.
Okay.
His sons asked his final wish. He requested they kill a giant serpent living at Negdulo in Dulu.
A giant serpent?
Yeah, apparently it had been consuming mourners for centuries. Quite dramatic. And he wanted to be cremated at Nabistan.
Did they do it?
The 5 sons eventually succeeded. They killed the serpent, fulfilled the wish, and as they returned, they planted their bows at Napistan. Miraculously, the bows sprouted and grew into bamboo groves that are supposedly still there today. The Nagdulo itself is also said to still exist.
Wow.
And echoing the other legends, the serpent's body parts are believed to have fallen at the 5 Panchkoshi sites, further grounding its sacredness in local folklore.
These origin stories really provide such a rich foundation for understanding that deep religious significance we talked about earlier. It's like the land itself is just imbued with divine energy.
Absolutely.
Now, shifting gears a bit, the text also highlights significant historical importance, particularly related to the Nepali language.
Yes, this is a truly fascinating aspect, maybe less known. While Sinja in Jumla is widely seen as the main origin of the Nepali language, the oldest Nepali inscription found so far, it's actually in Dulu, right within Panchkoshi.
No kidding. That's a huge detail. The text mentions an inscription from Shakya era 903, which is what, 1038 Vikram Samvat?
Roughly, yes. Over 1,000 years ago in the Gregorian calendar, inscribed by Damupal and Nahaipal.
That is incredibly old. Suggests a much earlier linguistic footprint there than maybe expected.
It's a major find, and not isolated. The text also points to the impressive 7-hand-long Kirti Stampa.
The victory pillar.
Exactly. Erected by King Prithvi Mala in 1414 Vikram Samvat. Plus, there are inscriptions on a pillar from King Ashok Chala in Paduka, another important one at Shiristan, and numerous Vilkamhas, basically hero stones, memorial pillars, scatter all over.
So these aren't just old stones. They're like historical documents etched right there, giving clues about the language evolution and Western Nepal's history way back when.
Precisely. They provide irrefutable evidence, almost like a time capsule, confirming Dulu's crucial role centuries earlier than maybe thought. These epigraphic findings really establish Panchkoshi as historically significant for all of Nepal, offering these tangible links to its linguistic and political past.
It's truly remarkable. Religious significance, historical significance, like these powerful currents running through the same place. And then, adding another layer, the text mentions potential economic significance, petroleum reserves. This is where it gets really interesting.
It certainly does. Panchkoshi has been identified as a promising area, potential for significant petroleum gas reserves within Nepal.
The text mentions a bilateral agreement between Nepal and China back in Chaitra 2072 Vikram Samvat. That's around 2016 AD, so fairly recent. Suggests ongoing interest.
Yes, and this project got the official nod from the Nepalese government. It led to ongoing collaboration between the mining departments of both countries.
Yeah.
A Chinese team did a preliminary study in Baisak 2073 Vikram Samvat. Crucially, they took rock samples back to China for detailed analysis.
And the results seem positive. The project's moving into preparation.
That seems to be the implication. This potential for petroleum could have a really transformative impact on Nepal's economy.
Yeah, I mean, if these reserves are significant,
Yeah.
what kind of impact could that have? Economic independence, funding development.
It's a crucial question. The text explicitly states this potential makes the area economically important for Nepal. It's a striking example, isn't it? A site revered for spiritual and historical value, possibly holding significant material wealth beneath the surface, potentially new avenues for growth.
Beyond the profound religious, historical, and this intriguing economic potential, Panchkoshi also boasts notable tourism potential, right? Drawing visitors with its natural and cultural heritage.
Indeed. The text highlights the area's natural beauty landscapes, unique geology alongside its vibrant local culture, and the numerous religious, historical, and natural heritage sites scattered throughout. These attract both domestic and international tourists, further underscoring just how many layers of importance Panchkoshi has.
Now let's dive deeper into the heart of its religious significance, the actual pilgrimage itself, the Harishankari Yatra. The name itself, Harishankari, suggests both Vishnu and Shiva.
That's precisely right. Harishankari Yatra means a sacred pilgrimage to the combined holy land of Vishnu, or Hari, and Shiva, or Shankar. And according to the Vaishnavar Purana, in this context, Panchkoshi specifically means Shirastan, Napistan, Kotila, Dailekh, and Padukistan.
Okay. The text outlines an annual journey. Starts on the 1st of Marga, that's November-December.
Roughly, yes.
And it involves a dedicated circuit visiting all 5 sites, doing rituals, ending at Lower Dungeshwar. Sounds like a deeply traditional and significant undertaking.
It is. The text gives a detailed overview of the traditional route. It starts with a ritual bath in the Pairavi River at Nabistan, purifying the pilgrims right at the start,
Right.
followed by visits to Siddheshwar Mountain, another bath in the Siddhi Da River, further cleansing. Then pilgrims visit other minor but still significant sacred spots nearby.
And the journey continues, incorporating more sacred rivers and rituals along the way.
Yes. The itinerary includes bathing in rivers called Ganga and Yamuna here, namesakes suggesting spiritual equivalence.
I see.
Pilgrims also do fire worship, invoking the divine flame. A very significant part is visiting the Vaishwanar Jwala, more fire emphasis, and crucially, performing Pindadan.
Ancestral offering.
Exactly. At Prechila, between the Ridravati and Padmavati rivers near Shirastan, a deeply meaningful act. The pilgrimage also hits other minor sites near Shirastan, the Malika Temple on Gantamadan Mountain, and involves bathing in the Malati and Siddhaganga rivers. Each step adds to the experience.
It's a very deliberately structured route, making sure pilgrims hit all the key spots and do the important rituals.
Indeed. Then they go to Koteshwar Mahadev at Kotila, then Siddheshwar Mahadev at Lower Dungeshwar, visit Swami Kartik's shrine. The journey continues to Padukistan before finally culminating back at Dailekh, the central point. It's a comprehensive spiritual circuit connecting all the major sacred points.
Beyond this annual Harishankari Yatra, the text also describes specific Vedic rules for pilgrimages within the broader Panchkoshi region, different durations for different goals.
Absolutely. It underscores the ancient, structured nature of these traditions. The text emphasizes the whole Panchkoshi region, defined as a 20 kosha area around Dailekh, adheres to specific Vedic guidelines.
Right.
For instance, a 5-day yatra, starting from Siddheshwar is for purification and gaining spiritual merit.
And what does that involve?
The itinerary includes key spots like the Triveni confluence, Dagdeshwar Shivling, the Karnali Bhairavi confluence, Haridwar Kshetra Charan Paduka Vishnu's footprints,
Right.
Bhairavi Kund, Guleshwar Dham itself, Brahmakund, Shivlingi, Nabistan, Rasayan Kund, Indrajwala, Kotila, and back to Dailekh, with rituals at each stop.
And there are longer pilgrimages outlined, too, for more specific goals.
Yes, indeed. A longer 9 or 11-day yatra starting from Banganga and Dailekh is for things like deity consecration, seeking divine vision, attaining divine power.
More intense.
Right. This route hits Bhairavi Kund, Shail Malika Mountain Shrine, Shivlingi, Patalganga, Kshetrapal Shrine, Brahmakund, Mapistan, Rudraganga, Shiristan. The 11-day option usually includes overnight stays at Shivlingi and Upper Dungeshwar for more contemplation. The 9-day skips those longer stays.
The text also mentions even more extended and rigorous pilgrimages. Really profound aims.
That's right. For seeking relief from severe physical or mental ailments, or aspiring for knowledge or liberation moksha, there's a 15-day yatra starting from Bhairavi.
15 days?
Yes, demanding. It involves specific overnight stops, Bhairave Shalagam Parvat, Dailekh, Nabistan, Shirasan, Kotila, the Rudravati Indravati confluence, Dugdeshwar, Siddheshwar, Swami Kartik, Haridwar Kshetra, Damyashram, Madhav Parvat, and back to Dailekh.
Wow.
Furthermore, a lengthy 21-day pilgrimage starting from Dharmagadi is for lineage improvement and ancestor salvation. Requires Shraddha rites at 48 sites, and a big feast at Bhairavi.
48 sites.
And finally, for universal, national, and personal well-being, a very challenging 31-day yatra, starting and ending at Dailekh.
A whole month.
Basically, emphasizes daily rituals, havan, puja, feeding Brahmins, scripture reading, demands deep dedication. The text wisely suggests consulting the Vaishnavar Purana, or local Brahmins, for the full details on these longer ones.
It's truly fascinating, such detailed prescriptions, highlighting the deep spiritual investment and diverse intentions. Now let's zoom in on some key sites. Padukastan. The text mentions Vishnu's footprints prominently.
Yes, Padukastan Place of Footprints is revered for Vishnu's footprints on a stone slab. Devotees offer red powder flowers. And like Shiristan and Nabistan, it used to have a perpetually burning flame on water. There was a Jwala Mandir, a flame house.
Used to? What happened?
Sadly, a devastating flood. Back in Nepal year 2028, Vikram Samvat. It buried the flame.
Oh, no. The text suggests that flood really had a destructive impact on the site itself.
Indeed. The Padukakola floodwaters swept away the original temples, leaving the scatter of archaeological remains along the riverbank.
What kind of remains?
Inscriptions, ancient statues, stone pillars, architectural bits, evidence of its rich history. Interestingly, there's a local anecdote about kerosene being extracted there once, hinting at the geology. Estimates suggest over 108 temples might have been destroyed. The text describes a sort of disorganized arrangement now of surviving deities. Shiva, Bhairav, others likely moved.
But some things survived.
The Agnikund, the fire pit in the Jwala Mandir, is still there. There's a dilapidated rest house and a rare, revered Rudraksha tree. Significantly, Padukastan is now seen as an open museum.
An open museum.
Yeah, invaluable for studying the early Khaz Empire. There are important inscriptions from the 12th century, so even ruined, it's crucial for historians and archaeologists alongside its religious side.
Moving on to Dailekh. The text identifies this as the central point of the whole region. The name Lord of Dust. Intriguing.
Right. The text explains this dust continuously emanates from the ground in the temple complex.
Dust from the ground.
Yeah. And interestingly, there are both scientific and religious explanations. Scientists suggest a dormant volcano underneath. Religious belief sees it as divine power manifesting.
Okay.
Its central role in the pilgrimage is really emphasized. There's a rule. Pilgrims must return to Dailekh each evening after visiting Paduka, Shira, and Nabi.
All reinforcing its centrality.
Absolutely. And the Vaishnavar Purana even describes the Jwala Parva, the flame mountain around Ulu, as having more spiritual merit than Badrinath and Kedarnath. That highlights its supreme importance locally. Dailekh isn't just another temple. It's the heart, the anchor for the whole sacred landscape and the pilgrimage.
And what about the structures within the Dailekh complex itself? What's there?
The complex has several important structures: the Jwal Mandir, a Bhairav temple, the Mashta temple, the Gadi Gar, a community building, and a Shiva temple.
Okay. Any notable features?
Inside the Jwala Mandir, there are 2 Nepali inscriptions, though sadly unreadable now. Records suggest one mentions Maharaja Ajendra and the temple's founding around 1748 Shakya era. Another mentions Colonel Kulman Singh Basnet overseeing renovations in 1778 Shakya era. The name Dailekh itself is thought to link to the fine dust rising with the air during Havans, the fire rituals, inside the Jwala Mandir.
The dust again.
Exactly. The Shiva temple has a Shivlinga, flanked by Basaha Shiva's bull mount, Nandi, and a lion. The Bhairav temple has various Bhairav statues, each worshipped specifically. The Mashta deity also has its own traditions.
Are there specific festival times?
Special worship mainly happens during Chaitra and Bada Dashain festivals, but daily rituals, incense, lamps, offerings happen regularly. The Gadi Gar, the rest house, was renovated in 2055 Vikram Sambat, and notably, daily worship is exclusively done by Kumar Pujaris, a specific priest lineage.
Nambistan is another crucial site, famous for those continuous flames on water. That's quite a spectacle.
Yes, Nabistan Naval Place. It has 2 prominent flames, Indra Jwala and Badi Jwala, burning right on the water surface.
How is that explained?
Well, like the others, it has both scientific and religious explanations. Scientists point to natural petroleum gas seeping up through the water.
Okay, makes sense geologically.
But religious belief firmly sees it as divine power, a direct manifestation, and local legend connects it to where Sati Devi's navel supposedly fell.
Right, the navel. What about the temple complex there?
Nepal has 2 south-facing saddles, traditional rest houses or shelters, made of brick, wood, mud, slate roofs. One's called Kothar, storehouse, the other Dharmatuni for spiritual practice.
And the main temple?
The main temple faces west, has a brass pinnacle, stone Ganesh at the entrance. The door frame was copper-plated in 1997 Vikram Samvat. Inside the flame temple itself, interestingly, just the flames are worshipped. No other idols inside that specific structure.
Just the flames.
Right. But within the complex, there are separate Bhairav and Ganesh temples. And the Gadi Gar math houses idols of Surya, Vishnu, Indra, various devas. You can also see ruins of old Shikhar-style devals, those elaborate pagoda-like temples.
Anything else distinctive?
There's a rare shami tree nearby, considered a sacred symbol of Panchkoshi, and traditionally, worship here is mainly done by yogis of the Nath Sampradaya, a major Shaivite tradition.
Shirstan, head place. Another key site, and again, a continuous flame on water. This fiery motif really ties them together.
It really does. And similar to Nabistan, the flame at Shirstan has both scientific explanations, petroleum gas, and religious ones, divine power. Local legend, consistent with the Sati story, links this to where her head is believed to have fallen. Geographically, it's on the bank of the Nabakola, also called the Rudravati River.
And what are the key temples and structures at Shirstan?
The site includes the Jwala Mandir, the Gadi Gar, a Kalpayav temple, a Batukparav temple, and a Shivlinga.
Kobrav and Batukparav. Different forms of Bhairav.
Exactly. The Shiva Jwala, or Vashwanar Jwala, burns inside the Jwala Mandir. Now, the Kalbhairav temple is interesting. It always has a white curtain hiding the deity.
Oh.
And entry is restricted only to unmarried priests. Adds a bit of mystery. Across the river, there's another flame temple called Kalajwala. And like Nabistan, worship here is traditionally by Nath Sampradaya ascetics.
Kotila presents an interesting case. The text says its inclusion in the main 5 is sometimes disputed.
That's correct. While many consider it integral, some traditions might include Dungeshwar instead. Depends who you ask, perhaps.
And the legends associated with Kotila.
Local legends connect it either to where Sati Devi's side fell or to a major Kodihom, a grand fire sacrifice performed by Indra, the king of gods.
Indra.
Interestingly, a unique type of barley, Indra Jau, is found only here, believed to have miraculously grown from where Indra did his Kodihom.
Wow. And what about the site itself, the structures?
Kotila is in Narayan municipality, uniquely surrounded by the Siddhi Kola and Chamgat Kola rivers. Gives it an island-like feel. At the east entrance, there's a bell from 1977 and a Shivlinga. The main temple is stone and wood, slate roof renovated in 2051 Vikram Samvat. Inside, a Shivlinga, a south-facing serpent-shaped Manak idol from 1922, Kamadhanu the cow, Ganesh, Mahadev.
Lots of deities.
Yes. And several bells inscribed from different years, 1986, 2013, 2031. There's an open area for havans, covered with a slate roof. Remnants of large stone slabs suggest the original construction was quite substantial, possibly from the Kateri rule.
Any other interesting finds there?
Notably, a Tibetan inscription with Mani Padme Hum was found, suggests possible Buddhist connections during the later Kosmala periods.
Interesting overlap.
Yeah, and short inscriptions similar to those at Paduka and Shira have also been found. Plus, echoing the legend, a big Kodi hum was actually performed there relatively recently in 2072 Vikram Samvat, reaffirming its significance.
Finally, Dunjawar, mentioned as a significant religious site and potentially replacing Kotila in some Panchkoshi lists.
Dungashore is definitely a very significant site in Dailekh. It's at the lowest elevation of these sites, right at the confluence of the Lahore Kola and the Karnali River.
Sacred confluence.
Exactly. Revered as the believed site of Dadichi Muni's hermitage, an important sage. It has two main temples, Siddheshwar Mahadev and Dungal Mandir. And yes, its inclusion in the Core 5 is a point of variation.
And the historical or cultural context around Dungashwar?
It's closely linked to Nul Katuwal village, now part of Dulu municipality. It's near the Karnali highway, so relatively accessible.
Okay.
There's a local historical anecdote about a Brahmin priest, Jyotikara Upadhyay, who used to perform rituals at the confluence. He developed a physical ailment, couldn't travel easily. So he asked a sadhu, a holy man named Sagargiri, to continue the regular worship. The belief is that the divine power associated with the rituals was then transferred to Sagargiri. That's the story, leading to the formal establishment and development of the temples there, with community support and traditional music during worship.
Wow. Okay, so putting it all together, Panchkoshi is clearly so much more than just, a few temples. It's this incredibly intricate nexus. Ancient religious beliefs, captivating origin stories tied to major deities, even the Mahabharata.
Right.
Then you have these significant historical artifacts, crucial for understanding Nepali language in early kingdoms. The surprising potential for economic resources underneath it all.
The petroleum gas, yeah.
And this vibrant, deeply rooted pilgrimage tradition with incredibly specific Vedic rules.
What's truly striking is how intricately interwoven all these layers are. Whether you're interested in spirituality, ancient history, geology, cultural traditions, Panchkoshi is just this compelling, multifaceted case study, a place where these seemingly disparate elements are just inextricably linked. And those detailed pilgrimage routes, each with its own purpose, they offer such a profound insight into the enduring spiritual commitment of the devotees and the lasting power of this really unique, sacred landscape.
Considering this incredibly rich tapestry mythology, history, potential within Panchkoshi, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other, maybe lesser-known pockets of the world might hold similarly rich, undiscovered stories just waiting to be explored?
That's a great question.
And maybe more importantly, what can we learn by truly appreciating and understanding all these interconnected aspects, the spiritual, the historical, the economic, the cultural of a single significant place like this?
Definitely something profound to think about long after our deep dive concludes.